Hi, my name is Jamie Haley, and this is my benchmark for my SPD 485 class at Grand Canyon University. The title of the course assignment is Cross-Curricular Remediation in your ELA classes. Remediation is to reteach or teach again lesson materials. This can benefit all students inside the classroom. Remediation happens when we review the last lesson or what the students covered in previous grades. This can be built into your everyday routines so that the students are able to benefit from this method. Differentiation is designed to meet the individual needs of a specific student. Differentiation is when we have to take the lessons and modify them to match each student's individual needs. This can be done in how they receive the educational materials, how we teach it to them, or even in the assignments being asked of them. Differentiation will need to have all teachers involved that work with the student so that they all agree and all can help the student in the same manner. Deviating from the prescribed plan can cause confusion and set the students back. Interventions are when both other methods have not worked and the student has begun to fall behind. A formal process of data gathering and changing how the students receive the assistance and/or lesson materials. This method uses two different models that are tiered to help the students. The RTI, which stands for Response to Interventions, and MTSS, the multi-tiered system of supports. When creating the lesson plans for your student, you look at the other courses they are taking and see how to incorporate that into your lessons. You can use the reading text from history to help with developing reading and writing skills, word problems and math that can be used as a refresher, and doing the research for science projects are all ways that ELA can be incorporated to the other classes and vice versa. This can allow for the students that have exceptionalities to have their accommodations and/or modifications built into their specific curriculum if they are in need of this inside their ELA coursework. An example would be when we work with dyslexic students. You can provide them with the tool set that can be used inside each course and throughout life, such as printing on colored paper, using the dyslexic font, providing plastic colored strips of paper, or using a full plastic colored sheet. Inside other core subject areas such as math, science, and social studies, we have a chance to build on their reading and writing skill sets. For science, I would work with the students on descriptive writing so that they can learn the foundations of writing, work on their understanding of what is going on in the science lesson, and build their penmanship. In the math arena, we use word problems to help the students learn how to select information out of the problem. This allows the students to use context clues from their previously learned knowledge. The students build on their reading skills and comprehensions as well. When working in social studies, students learn about the past through reading different texts. Utilizing an exit ticket to assess their reading comprehension allows for the teacher to see which student would need further assistance and in what area. Embedding remediation strategies into the lessons allows for the teacher to allow a pause into the lesson and assess the student's understanding of current and previously learned educational materials before moving on. This is beneficial to all students inside the classroom and can work wonders with those with exceptionalities. The students with exceptionalities can have more pauses built into their lessons at predetermined spots for the teacher to just check with their comprehension of the materials. In science, using the website Kahoot can help with remediation in a lesson. It is a fun game that can be tailored to the lesson and hits on the materials students need for mastery. The teacher can go through the answers after each question and ask why a specific student selected an answer, allowing for the student to use previously learned knowledge and comprehension to explain their choice. If the majority of the class got the question wrong, then the teacher would know that a review of that academic aspect will be needed to be done. Using Kahoot utilizes students' reading skills and reading comprehension to select the correct answers. Having the students complete quick checks inside math classes that utilize word problems can be a way to incorporate literacy remediation into the coursework. Students will have scheduled quick checks to assess if they can read the problems correctly to gather the needed information to complete the math equations correctly. The quick checks allow for the students to have their accommodation and/or modification embedded into the questions being used so that all students are assessed on their individual levels. When working with remediations, we look into the social study classes. We can look into the text being used and create a range of DOK or depth of knowledge questions to help guide the students into using their reading comprehension skills. The questions can be used for students to write a short summary down so that they also develop their writing skills as well. The levels of the DOK questions can vary from level 1 to level 4, with level 4 being the hardest and level 1 being easy, depending on the accommodations and/or modifications that a specific student might need. When we look at how to incorporate remediation into our lessons, we should look at how it can benefit our students. Using pre-assessments, reviews, and assessments are all ways to have the remediation implanted into our daily lessons very easily. DLM stands for Dynamic Learning Maps and is an alternative assessment that can be used across core curriculum to assess essential elements for the teachers and school personnel. Essential elements are where students should be at for their grade level and also what they should know and be able to do. This assessment type is geared towards the students with exceptionalities that struggle with or cannot complete traditional assessments provided in the school required by the state. Teachers should work with the special education department to make sure that all lesson materials used can benefit and work with these students inside your classroom. For example, if you have a writing assignment that also incorporates your history lessons, make sure that all accommodations and/or modifications are used so that your students succeed in this assignment. Also check to make sure all academic standards and/or codes match up and align with the materials being used so that the students are able to be on the path for success. Creating assessments that can measure a student's mastery and still uphold the foundations of the academic standards is crucial in providing adequate instructions. The assessments need to be creative in the way they are implemented. We need to look at designing the assessments so that they flow with the lesson plan and help the students to grow academically. The assessments should be geared towards identifying their strength and weakness and give the data needed to provide interventions if a student needs it. That allows the teachers to know where the students need help. Because if a student has no reading comprehension at all, but we say, okay, they need writing skills, it's not going to work out and the intervention will fail. For math, an assessment we could use would be how to measure how they work with reading and comprehending the text provided. One that is quick and simple, such as asking a question about what information is given while working as a class, or one that is used as an exit ticket to measure mastery of the materials. Science assessments can be built into the lesson plan by having the teachers ask students to rationalize why something is done or stated in their text. When asking for students to rationalize, we are actually asking for them to use their comprehension of the text to summarize what is being done. In social studies, students can create a graphic organizer or a one-pager depicting what they learned in the lesson. This allows for the students to look at what's being asked of them and then show what they've learned in a manner that is suited for them. Inside the graphic organizer or one-pager, the accommodations and/or modifications can be applied. For example, if you have a student that has difficulty writing, they can use pictures or draw pictures of what they have comprehended.